A very good evening and a happy Independence Day to all the attendees and speakers. Myself, Mohammed Sanofa, Executive Committee Member of Bureau for the Empowerment of Arbitration and Mediation. It gives immense pleasure and honor to host this webinar event on behalf of the BEAM. So before kicking off the event, I would like to give a quick tour on ARMIT platform since many of the participants are new here. First, once the event is live, all the attendees, mics and videos are muted automatically. In order, if you have any queries related to the connectivity or any other queries, you can always ping me directly. My screen is always on the stage. Your right hand side, there are 4-5 icons you can see here. You have raise hand option. In order to speak to the speakers, you can click the raise hand option and I can bring you over the stage. In order, you can question the speakers directly. And you have attendees option. You can see the peer attendees who are attending with you. There's a live chat option. You can post your queries or any related events here. You have a questions tab. You can also post the questions here also. We will ensure the speakers will answer them very shortly. I would like to invite Mr. Karthikeyan, Executive Committee of BEAM, to give the welcome address.
Hello everyone, happy Independence Day and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for taking time out and being here on the eve of India's 74th Independence Day. My name is Karthik and I am part of the Managing Committee at the Bureau for the Empowerment of Arbitration and Mediation, a not-for-profit organization based in Coimbatore. To begin with, I would like to discuss briefly about our organization and our association partner IDAC India, which stands for International and Domestic Arbitration Center. As we are aware, arbitration is emerging as the very reliable and speedy remedy for the commercial disputes in our country. A group of like-minded arbitration professionals and law students motivated to form a unique forum for arbitration. So the main objectives of our forum are to create awareness among the general public and to provide training to both the legal and allied professionals, to enable the general public enjoy the benefits of arbitration. That includes MSMEs and the business community overall, to foster institutional arbitration in the Tier 2 cities and beyond, and most importantly, to regularly conduct seminars or webinars for the government law college students and industry professionals, and to establish an arbitration institution that is accredited by the proposed Arbitration Council of India. And I would like to give a brief about our association partner, IDAC, which is International and Domestic Arbitration Center. IDAC is one of the leading arbitral institutions in India, which aims to provide effective and quality services and promote arbitration in India. Mr. Ravi Shankar, our keynote speaker for today's session, is one of the promoters of IDAC. The team includes leading lawyers, company secretaries, and subject matter experts of the other traders. IDAC India is a professionally managed institutional arbitration center offering domestic and international arbitration administration services. IDAC is supported by an advisory board consisting of retired High Court judges and other subject matter experts. And but not the least, IDAC has presently 177 arbitrators on its arbitrators panel on pan-India basis, which consists of retired Supreme Court or High Court judges and other experts from different domains, including international arbitrators. Now, without further commotion, we will turn the time over to our moderator, Mr. Ramasubramanian, who is a member of Chartered Institution of Arbitrators and also empaneled as an arbitrator by the Indian Council of Arbitration. He is also the convener of our forum, Bureau for the Empowerment of Arbitration and Mediation. Over to you, Ram.
Thank you, Karthik, for your excellent welcome address. Good evening, everyone, and happy Independence Day again. On this great day, we remember Mahatma Gandhi for two reasons. One, he laid the foundation for our independence. And also, he was a successful arbitrator during his time. There is no better day than the Independence Day to discuss about arbitration. Why? Because arbitration is all about freedom of parties. Arbitration is all about independence of the arbitrator. And arbitration is all about independence of the award. With this prelude, I warmly welcome the speakers for today's session. Dr. Durga Lakshmi ma'am, Principal, Government Law College, Salem, Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. Mr. S. Ravi Shankar, Managing Partner, Law Senate, Promoter, IDAC, New Delhi. Our first speaker, Dr. Durga Lakshmi ma'am. She is more than an academician, she is a great humanitarian. As soon as our team informed her about our intention to impart ADR specific knowledge to the Government Law College students, she extended her fullest support. And that support is a catalyst to our team. Very big thank you, ma'am. As a distinguished alumnus of Government Law College, Coimbatore, ma'am is a gold medalist in both her UG as well as PG. And she has successfully guided 100 plus LLM students in their dissertation. She is also a great author. She authored a book, Silent Victims, focusing on the offenses against the women. Ma'am is also a member of Legal Studies Reforms Committee, Dr. Ambedkar Law University. The credentials are endless, ma'am, for you. But your humanity is your crown. With this brief introduction, we welcome you to present your perspectives. And before that, a small request, ma'am. Here, a lot of students are here. So, please spend a couple of minutes explaining about arbitration before delving into the major topic, that is arbitration in Tier 2 cities. Now the floor is yours, ma'am.
Respected distinguished speaker of the day, Mr. S. Ravi Shankar, the organizers of BEAM, distinguished participants of the day, and other eminent persons who have registered for this webinar. I extend my warm Independence Day wishes to each one of you. So, shall I proceed with the session? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I thank the organizers of this function, especially the moderator, Mr. Ramasubramaniam, and his team from BEAM for having given me an opportunity to share my views with you as a keynote address for this webinar. See, I just wanted to, I've been given 10 to 15 minutes for the day, whereby I'm just going to take you through the concept of ADR. Fine. I see the speaker, I see the participants have come from a varied varied spheres of life and with different positions in different organizations. So I just thought I'll just take you through an outline about the concept of ADR, and I've been asked to discuss about the outline of it. So let me start with it. Okay. So, for example, when there is an issue, when there is a violation of your rights, you tend to set the law in motion. Fine. So when you tend to set the law in motion, only when there is something wrong which is happening to you. Say, suppose you have lent money to somebody, you have lent the money of, 2 lakhs to a person, and you have not been able to recover that amount. So now what happens, in spite of repeated reminders, the person has not returned back the money. So now there is a violation of your right and some form of injustice has happened for you. And now there is an urge for you to set the law in motion. Fine. So when you are forced to set the law in motion, what happens is you approach the court of law. You are forced to go to the court of law. And when you go to the court of law, it has got its own tiring processes that is happening. For example, when it comes to a money suit, for the others who are not from the law field, I just thought I'll just explain about these concepts in an outline, in a nutshell, so that you will know the importance of ADR by the end of the session. Okay. So when you file a case in the court of law, it will take its own time because of the due process of law, the the procedures that are involved in it. As a result of it, what happens is it is a very lengthy, cumbersome process. One thing. There are many reasons. As a result, the procedure is so lengthy and so cumbersome that there is uncertainty as to when you will be getting an order in favor of you. It will get delayed to that extent. And as a result of these things, there are heavy backlog of cases that are happening. Okay. So that is why we call it as docket explosion also. I'll just give you a simple example. Say, for example, the same thing which I shared with you now. For example, it is recovery of this particular money, a money suit which you are filing. The matter is filed before the court, whereby you will have to pay the court fees for the amount, whatever you're claiming. You are paying the advocate fees for that. And on the repeated hearings, you have so many expenses that are happening for this. Okay. And once everything has been done, you have due process of law, that is due procedures to be followed, that has to be ensured by the courts also. So then what happens is when all the procedures have been complied with and finally you get an order, and you don't know how long it will take for the completion of this process. Okay. And finally, after completion of the process, yes, the court says, yes, X owes you this much of money and he is supposed to pay you, and you get an order in your favor. Now, the next issue is, in spite of getting an order, if X is not paid the amount to you, then the next issue comes in. So then what is the remedy available to you? Now, you will have to ask the court for execution of this particular order passed by the court. That is called as execution petition. Now, again, the same process will start, whereby you will have to file an execution petition, send notice to the other party. He'll be called as a judgment debtor, and he has to abide by the procedures. And there again, after here getting the counter from him, and after so many procedures, only finally you land up a solution. Okay. So what I'm trying to convey over here is the normal court procedures, it will take its own time to settle the matters. So I'll just sum up in 4 points for you. As far as going for a litigation in the court of law, it is lengthy, cumbersome process, and there is delay in getting orders, which is leading to backlog of cases. It is expensive in nature, and it is open to the public, where the public is also viewing as to what is happening in the courts. Okay, fine. Now, the next question that comes in is, just because of these issues, I cannot give up my right, isn't it? And that is not what I'm telling you. What I am telling you is, we have an alternative mode of resolving this particular issue. And that is where our ADR comes into picture. So my next concept I'm going to share with you is, what is ADR? Why is ADR? So the concept ADR stands for Alternative Dispute Resolution Mechanisms. Okay. So now in this alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, what does it mean? This is also duly bound by law. And in this, you have 4 different modes of settling it. Either you can do it by way of arbitration, or you can do it by way of mediation, or by way of conciliation, or by arbitration, mediation, conciliation, and negotiation. These are the different forms of alternate dispute resolution mechanism that is available to us, which by settling the dispute outside the courtroom. Okay, so this is the next alternative mode you have for settling your dispute. Now, the next concept I want to say here is, why are we choosing this ADR or the alternate measures? So you will have to understand one thing in mind, the concept of it. Okay. So here, when we have, why are we going for this alternate methods are, it is comparatively faster in nature when compared to the normal court procedures. It is very flexible in nature. It is said to be free, substantially, there is freedom of parties as far as arbitration is concerned. And go for an alternative mode of dispute settlement, there is faster remedy you're getting. Flexibility is there. Freedom of the parties are there. It is cost effective in nature, we say. So why are we emphasizing on all these things is, I'm at no point of time I'm not saying you to give up your rights or go for any form of injustice, but what I'm insisting is, when you go for ADR, you get a faster remedy for your solution. That is what has been highlighted over here. Apart from this, yes, next slide please. So in this particular concept, what you're trying to say here is, not only by in ADR, not only all these four concepts you can see, it is said to be comparatively cheaper in nature also. That is why we say it is cost effective. And one more thing you should bear in mind, it enhances the ease of doing businesses also. And as a result of which, when there is an easy way of doing business also, people will come in to get into arbitration agreements with you. And when there is any commercial issues that is coming in, you will be able to settle the issues also. So there won't be, it will reduce the pressure on the courts also and pressure on the parties also. One more thing what you should bear in mind is, in the normal courts, the parties are seen just like parties, whereby there won't be any personal bonding or anything. But when it comes to the ADR measures, you see that there is a tendency whereby an improved relationship between the parties can be seen, whereby they try to negotiate between the parties and try to settle an issue amicably. For example, when it comes to arbitration, you have a dispute whereby in the agreement you say that if any matter arises, when a dispute arises, you'll be moving to an arbitration. You take up the arbitration clause, and then what happens? A neutral person called as an arbitrator, he is a person who's there to settle the issue for you. And one more thing you should bear in mind, the arbitrator is not any Tom, Dick or Harry. He is an arbitrator who's been trained to do this particular thing. So arbitrator is a person who has enough knowledge in that particular field, and he'll be executing the role of a judge in the civil courts. In the civil courts, how the judges preside over the court, in the same way, this arbitrator presides over and hears both the parties. And in this form, when he is getting in, the confidence, it is very confidentially it is being done. As a result of which, the parties share out or come out with their views, as a result of which they are able to settle the matter at a much faster pace than going to the court of law. Okay, this is what I would like to emphasize over here. So next thing I want to emphasize on, there is legal sanctity to it. At no point of time you should think that going for an arbitration or any other alternative mode may not be having legal sanctity. Yes, so that should never ever be in your mind, because in action, as per section 89 of the Civil Procedure Code, these processes are being recognized. And don't ever think that this particular concept of arbitration has come in only in the year 2020. No. In 1940 itself, when legislation has been enacted for arbitration. In 1996, the old act was repealed, and we have an Indian Arbitration and Conciliation Act brought in the year 1996. And even in 2019, it has brought very good amendments have been brought in for the act. Why are we moving towards arbitration? Why is the act amended now in 2019? The reason for all these things is, now it has become the order of the day. It is slowly getting into this particular mode, whereby that is the faster, cheaper, flexible mode of settling your issues, be it commercial issues or whatever be it. So this mode of settling of issues is going to be of much benefit. Okay, and that is the importance I want to share for you. So what are the benefits? So first, what I'm trying to emphasize over here is, when there is an issue that is happening, you set the law in motion. When you go to the civil courts, what happens? the cubism process is happening, as a result of which you are deprived of your rights. You're not able to get it at a faster pace. So that is why I'm insisting that you should go for ADR. And what are the benefits? Why am I insisting you to go for ADR? Is you get all these benefits, that is faster than the litigation in the court. It is cheaper and more flexible. It is less formal than the court. It is confidential in nature, and there is legal sanctity. So all these reasons will make you understand that going for arbitration is definitely a beneficial concept for you, right? Is that part clear for you? Okay. Now what I'm trying to emphasize over here is there might be a doubt and there are certain misconceptions. See, ADR mechanism has proven to be one of the most efficacious mechanisms to resolve commercial disputes. So that has to be taken into consideration now. It has been proven to be one of the most efficacious mechanisms. So then it is binding on the parties also, and it is equally binding on the parties, and the arbitrators are doing a wonderful job in order to settle the matters. I'll just give you a simple example. As I said, in the arbitration case, I mean in the civil case, see, you are filing it in the court, and after due process you get an order after a couple of years or whatever it is, and finally if you're defending you file a case against a person for recovery of money, and when that money is not been recovered, court has given you an order, and that again is not been executed properly. Now we're going to the same court, asking the court for execution of the particular degree, right? And after that only you're going for execution of that particular degree. So you have such a lot of time has been wasted for you in all this process, and then the next phase is going for the execution of that particular degree, right? Okay, now what is the benefit if you come to ADR? This particular concept, okay, say suppose going to the court and still getting the order, if you have done it to an arbitration proceedings, it would have been done at a much faster pace. So then what happens? The arbitrator is passing an award, and the same thing is happening. So you might be asking, madam, in that it happens, what is the situation? Yes, in case the arbitration process is done and the arbitral award has been passed and the person is not executing it accordingly, you have every right to execute it in the court of law. Able to understand? So when you are going for executing it in the court of law, the initial procedures which has been in the court, you are saving that time. So now you are directly on the basis of your arbitral award, you are going for an execution of the arbitral award. Okay, so I am emphasizing here a simple example as to how your time, energy and everything is being saved, and you get quick disposal of your cases. Fine, is that clear? Okay, so now there are certain misconceptions which arises for you because of arbitration. See, there is a general concept. They feel that it is a second class justice. See, the reason why many of them might think in that angle, you know, I'm not sure, but I'm just saying the general concept is they might think that only when you go to the court of law, you get a remedy. But that is not possible when you go for any other mediation procedures or when you take up any other ADR measures. So that concept should be taken away from your mind. You can never take it as a second class justice. The reason being, the arbitrator is a person who has been empowered to pass on, he'll preside over the case, whereby he has got every right to summon the witness, to examine the documents, ask for expert opinion. How a civil case is being done, in the same way, the arbitrator will play a pivotal role in settling the particular issue, or rather looking into the particular issue. Okay, so just like how the judges will be looking into your case in the court of law, in the same way, the arbitrator will be looking into your case, and then accordingly, if any expert opinion is required, that will be looked into. If he needs to summon somebody, he'll look into it. And just like the due process of law, whatever has been followed, everything will be followed in the arbitration when the process is beginning. So then what happens? It ensures that it does happen. It is not that you just walk away taking off your order or something like that, and you need not ever think that you get a second class injustice. It is never ever like that. Okay, so and these arbitrators are people who have been exclusively trained in the particular area, and they will be the best best judges who can deliver best arbitral awards also for you, looking into the cases. And the next thing, the general concept that comes in is, you just because you're getting a faster remedy or to settle the matter easily, you have a tendency of going for a compromise. This is one another concept which generally people think. No, please don't ever think like that. You need not compromise on that at all. You are placing the documents before the arbitrator. He looks into it and passes order according to the merits and demerits of the documents before him, the arguments placed by the parties, and only according to that it has been done. And at no point of time you need to compromise. Okay, and there is one another concept that they think there is disparity in the status of the party. Say suppose an employer employee is that the employer might be having an upper hand on that. For example, if it is bank cases, they might think that they will be influencing the arbitrator, as a result of which it is more prone to get directions in favor of the bank as a pro bank or whatever it is. But understand one thing, the arbitrator is a person who looks into the pros and cons of it. He goes by the documents which is placed before him. He is a person who thoroughly understands the due process of law, and only looking into all the procedures and following all the procedures, he is passing the arbitral award. Fine. So at no point of time you should think that there is disparity in the status of the parties if you go for ADR. The next thing is a lack of public scrutiny. There is one other misconception which the people might think that, see, when it comes to court proceedings, it is happening in an open area whereby everybody is seeing. So as a result of which, there is sanctity for it, there is public scrutiny for it, and that will be correct. Please, that is not the way it has to be looked into. Though this is happening confidentially, let us think in the positive side of it. See, when only the arbitrator is there and the two parties are there, they can break out and tell whatever is the issue, and they can settle it out, or they can bring out whatever they have to say. And because it is confidential in matter, I mean in nature, they need not have any fear or favor in it, and they can come out with their ideas and suggestions, whatever they have in it. So as a result of which, you can ensure that the confidentiality will only make you settle the issue in a better manner than the other courts, because it will take its own time. And the concept is legal sanctity. I've already emphasized for you. Arbitration award, the importance of arbitration, what I've already told you. So that is what I'm trying to say. The ADR measures are something which has got its own legal sanctity, and ADR, following ADR is definitely a faster mode of settling all the issues, and that is only going to be feasible for everybody, and that will slowly becoming the order of the day. Now, the next concept I want to highlight over here is ADR is feasible only for the metropolitan cities. So that is one area which they wanted me to address. See, there is a misconception saying that ADR is feasible only for the people who are in the metropolitan and not for tier 2 people. Okay, that has to be sorted out. The reason being, why should it be thought like that? So that is the reason why in tier 2 they have a feeling that ADR is not possible for them. No, that should never ever be thought. It is only the mentality of the people that matters, So the concept that they think is, as far as the metropolitan cities are concerned, they have a rich infrastructure, they are having advanced knowledge in technology, as a result of which only they will be able to go for all these things, and not the others in tier 2 cities. No, that is not the way it should be looked into. Okay, we should look into it as a way, because even in tier 2 cities, say suppose now everything is happening online, be it education or be it any form of activities, working at home is what is happening, right? So everything is taking up an online mode of happening. For example, even the courts are going only for virtual mode of settling the issues. Now virtual courts are happening, right? And all the matters are being heard by the judges through virtual meets. Okay, so here again what happens, the cities with good infrastructure and the metro cities, they are said to have more accessibility. So then what happens is a faster mode of settlement of issues are happening even during the COVID pandemic. But when it comes to tier 2 cities, maybe the infrastructure, because of that difficulties, they might not be able to come up to that level. So then what happens? The cases pile on to it. Are able to understand? The backlog of cases increases compared to the metro cities. Tier 2 cities might have more backlog of cases because of this COVID pandemic. As a result of it, what happens? You are forced to find some alternative methods. When you come to ADR, whether you're in metro or whether you're in tier 2 city, the arbitrator is the person who remains the same. He can pass orders accordingly, and this is not going to affect in any form because of all these issues. Tier 2 issues, as far as tier 2 issues are concerned, two things you'll have to bear in mind. Arbitration should be taken as a next mode of settling the issues, and for this purpose, two things you'll have to bear in mind. Remove all the misconceptions that is coming into your mind. Once you remove all the misconceptions that is happening because of that, you will have a clear view looking into the importance of ADR. Once you understand the importance of ADR, the sanctity which ADR has got, I'm sure all of you will agree with me that ADR is the next form that can be taken up exclusively during this lockdown period to reduce the backlog of cases in these courts. And once this has not been taken up now, it will add more, it will become more worse in tier 2 cities, and that has to be overcome. So all these misconceptions has to be removed. There is a general concept saying that arbitration is confined only to metros and allied people, and all these things have to be overlooked. That is what is my view. And I think once they overcome all these things, nowadays almost every course of activity when you do, you are having an arbitration clause in the agreement. So slowly awareness has started coming in, and as many of them are in the legal field also, I would like to emphasize on 2 points whereby the law graduates, they should understand the concept of ADR very thoroughly. Okay, once you understand the concept of the alternate dispute resolution mechanism, you can instill faith and confidence in the parties. Once you instill faith and confidence in the parties, automatically ADR will find a strong base even in tier 2 cities. Once it comes in, it will enhance the the commercial aspects also will definitely increase. So people, when they start investing in the cities, they will emphasize, because if there is a faster mode of settlement of issues, then that will be given more importance. As a result of which, definitely more importance will be given to tier 2 cities. So I would request all of you to create awareness about the concept, remove all the misconceptions you have about ADR, first concept, and then understand that ADR is the next form of the next mode you'll have to follow, and then it is possible in tier 2 cities. Once we take up that particular mode, definitely it will be the best form you can do, and it can instill confidence not only in the public but also in the investors, in the commercial field also. So this is what I would like to share in this particular concept. And the last thing which I would like to emphasize is the recent amendment. I think my speaker, sir, Mr. S. Ravishankar, sir, is going to highlight more in depth into the technical matters of it. So I'm not going more into that particular area of it. And all that I would like to say is, initially it was concentrated only with a few class of people, advocates. But now, as per the 2019 amendment, you understand that they have brought in 9 categories of people who can become arbitrators, cost accountant, company secretary, advocates, and so on and so forth. So then sky is the limit for all these people. So definitely the youngsters over here, they should understand the concepts, train themselves in this particular field, and it is very clear from the substantial amount the commercial disputes can definitely be reduced to a very great extent. And once you train yourself in these form of arbitration skills, definitely sky is the limit for you. And not only that, one another benefit for you is you're all people from varied forms of life, and definitely your expertise, your knowledge in the particular area can be used in the right sense. So awareness creation, opportunities in arbitration is increasing. The role of legal fraternity is to understand the concept of it and even to enhance your arbitration skills. So enhancing of arbitration skills is something like you get into organizations like Beam. They are doing a wonderful job, and this is only a beginning for them, and you can hone your arbitration skills by attending all these webinars, conferences, and getting in touch with renowned arbitrators like sir who's going to address. So when you hear to all these people, definitely I'm sure you will be able to hone your arbitration skills and you will be able to do excellently well, and sky is the limit for all these things. I think I've covered the topic that has been given to me. Yes, anything else to be discussed? I think I've done justice to what has been told. I'm not able to hear you clearly. If you have any clarifications, please do inform. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and I wish Beam wonderful success
Thank you
in
so
all
much,
their
ma'am.
future endeavors. And I feel.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your perspectives about you have managed to present it in a palatable manner to both the students as well as arbitration community. Thank you so much.